Running into issues with your code really sucks, and the first place we usually turn to is our dev tools to try and debug things. And while they can be super useful and we can get a lot of information from them, there are other tools out there that can make our lives so much easier and give us extra insights into what might be going wrong or improvements we can make in our sites. And we're going to be looking at some of those in this video. Hello, my friend and friends, and welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad that you've come to join me once again. And if you're new here, my name is Kevin, and here at my channel, I help you learn about how to make the web and how to make it look good while you're at it with weekly tips, tricks, and tutorials. In this video, as I mentioned, we're going to be looking at some tools to help us make our developer life a little bit easier. And we're going to be looking at a couple of browser extensions as well as a standalone little piece of software that is really, really cool. And so yeah, let's just go and dive in and take a look at them. All right, so the first one we're gonna be looking at is a really cool tool by Adam Argyle called VisBug. I've already installed it in Chrome, and when you have it installed, you can get it for Firefox as well. You can see it in my list of extensions here, or I can just right click as well and go to VisBug and just choose this hide and show. And I get a little thing that shows up on the side here with all these extra tools for me to be able to use to find out what might be going wrong. And I've gone onto the CSS Tricks website here just because there's lots going on in the website, and I think it's going to be a nice way to sort of explore some of the features of it. I'm not doing a deep dive. I just want to give you a little bit of an idea of what's possible with it. So first of all, there's the little eye tool, which is like an inspector, and it gives you information. So you can see all the properties that are placed on it, the line height, the margins, the padding, everything that's on there, the colors and stuff, and you can go onto all these different things. This is a nice, cool accessibility inspector. And again, a lot of these we can get with our dev tools, but it's a little bit harder to get to them. So this accessibility one's nice because it's really in your face and it really shows you foreground, background color, really clear, the contrast ratio, and whether it's passing on the WCAG compliance. The margin and padding tools are really nice because they let us visualize the margin that's on these different elements. So you can see there I have the margin there, here I have the margin 26 on the bottom. This can help you if you have collapsing margins or issues with spacing and you don't know where that spacing is coming from. You can actually see them, and if you hold shift down, you can select multiple items and see the margins on multiple items. And you can also do this with padding as well. So you can visualize the padding that's coming up onto different elements nice and easily and see the size. So again, it's things that you could do with your dev tools, but a bit more clear. And I really like that you can select multiple elements with it. Which is something the dev tools, it's always annoying when you're sort of hovering on top and then it goes away when you're not hovering on it. So that's really, really handy with your margins and your padding. One really nice one if you get stuck with Flexbox stuff is there's a Flexbox tool or Flexbox align tool, and I'm pretty sure they're using Flexbox for, say, some stuff here. So that's a block, Flex, there we go. So the parent is Flex. So because it's Flex, I can use my arrow keys and actually change the alignment on things just by moving it around. So it's changing the justify content probably. And then here I'm changing the align content and stuff. So you can play around with different settings on that and get different results, which is kind of cool. This tool, the position tool, is the crazy tool. This is literally you just take something and you can put it somewhere else on the page. So, you know, oh, I don't want that there. I'm going to drag you, and there's an overflow hidden, I guess, so we can't move it around too much, but I want it there for some, you know, right there. It won't, there we go, I dropped it. And then maybe this popular articles should actually go somewhere else. So let's see if I can get that whole div. And then, whoops, I got the wrong thing. There we go. And, there we go. I can move it off over here for some reason. And then we can get you, and I don't know why I'd want to do all this, but just to show you, it's this cool tool where you can literally move stuff wherever you want. You can also come and edit font styles as well. So if I want to make my font size bigger or smaller, I can play around just really quickly and easily like that. I can also change the leading or the letter spacing. That's not the same thing. I was thinking leading, but kerning or tracking. Tracking is the word I was looking for, or the letter spacing there, and play around with stuff and change how things look. And some of the best tools with it are just these color pickers. So I can choose, say, the text here and then click on here. And I can just change the color of it to whatever I want. I can get HSL, hex, or RGB. I can color pick to get something else, and you can play around with things that way as well. And you can do the same thing with background colors too. So you can come on here, choose that, and change the background color. Obviously, I selected the wrong element there, so we didn't actually see it change. So let's try this one. And there we go. We can see that I can change the background color of an element. And then what you can do is if you go back to the info tool, you can actually click on something and see the local changes that you've made to it. So you don't lose all these changes. You go, okay, what did I do here? And then it shows you the different things that I've messed around other than the positioning of it. We go here, the local modifications, change the color, the font size, the letter spacing. You can get all of those different changes. Really cool tool, really nice for visualizing things. my favorite things are the margin and padding things, but it's really cool with Flexbox, and the accessibility stuff is also really, really handy. But on the topic of accessibility, there is another really nice accessibility tool. And we're going to go over to here. Here's my bad version of my website with a bunch of accessibility issues. And this is another browser extension called Axe DevTools, and it's for web accessibility. And what I'm going to do is actually open up my DevTools, and you can see it has added a new tab here. So you don't use the extension, it just adds in your DevTools right here. There is a paid aspect to this product, but you can also use it for free. It just, you unlock more features and more things that you can get. But this one is, you just do scan all of my page, and it pops up with the issues, and it says needs review on some of them because sometimes it won't know if there's actually an issue or not, but it's saying, hey, you should look here because this is potentially a problem, and there's other things that will be problems. And they also do, is it critical, is it serious, moderate, or minor? So I can click on critical, and I can get it. So if I can click highlight on the page, and it will show me what the problem is. And in this case, it goes that ensure images have alternative text or a role or of none or presentation. So it's saying that I didn't put alt text basically on that image. And so what we can do is then go to the next one, and I just click the little arrow and it brings me down to the next one, and then I can bring and go to another one. So let's go up to here and just click on the 31, and we're going to stop highlighting. Let's go to 31 and then highlight so I know where I'm at. Oh, that's Grammarly always throws off errors, which is a little bit annoying, but just because I have Grammarly installed. So that's always going to pop up every single time. But so here it's elements must only, but then I can go on to this. So elements with color contrast issues, and you can find all the different things, which I changed my colors on. So you can see that I have color contrast issues coming up here, and I can use the highlight to help show it. And I can cycle through everything that's failing on my contrast issues. So this is a little bit nicer than the VisBug for that, because you don't have to individually check them. It gives you the warning. And I know you can get errors and checking like this through Lighthouse, but what I like better about this than Lighthouse is I find it gives you an easier way to find the solution, and it also shows you the location of it, as well as like you can actually see the element here. And if you click on inspect, it will show you where in your actual DevTools it is. So it brings you into your inspection thing, and then you can do extra checking or whatever here and see the actual CSS. So it makes a bit more of a clear link between those things as well, which is really, really handy. And then here, just to fix it, here's some extra information and stuff like that, which is really nice. And then, missing alternate text, so it tells you what's wrong there. Links must have discernible text. So here I purposely changed my link to an image. I thought it was a different image, but we're breaking stuff on this page anyway, so it's fine. But it's saying there isn't any text for this link, but then it gives you different options. Like, to fix this, do one of these multiple things that you can do. So I like that it's really nice and clear how you can do things, and you get all these different things. Are they critical, serious, minor, or moderate? And I like having a specific tool for doing these types of checks, just as a really quick way to run through on a project or on a site. So a really nice tool just to be able to go through, and of course you can unlock more if you want to pay for it. And it's free to use to do these overviews of all of these different things. It just, you don't have the guided tours, and you can't be a little bit more specific if it's a really big project. But I think it's a really nice starting point and something that people should be really aware of. And often with accessibility, we're not aware of the problems that are coming up. So this is a nice, easy way to find it and get the information on different ways that you can fix it all in one place, which is really, really nice. All right, and the third tool that I want to look at does actually have a lot of accessibility features. It also has a lot of debugging features and more, which is the Polypane browser. I've talked about this a little bit in a previous video where I looked at one specific feature from it, but you can do a lot of really cool things with it. I won't be able to cover all of them in this video, but I just want to say it is a paid product. It's not a free product. Unless you're a student, if you can show that you're a student, then they do offer it for free. And it's one of these tools that's nice. So you can see here we have like multiple browser windows running at once, and you can actually do a little bit more with that. So I can add new windows in here, and these are based on my breakpoints. So you can get multiple ones going all at the same time and sort of see how it would look across multiple devices, which can be really, really handy. You can also change the layout from vertical to horizontal really, really easily and come in with different views. You can also have a focused view with only one at a time. And let's go to full and get a nice full screen view, and we'll go back to having the split panes. So lots of different ways. If you have too many things, you can actually zoom in and zoom out just to make sure you can see everything at once. If you don't like that they all scroll at the same time, you can turn that off and just scroll one of them individually and then nice and easily turn it back on. A few things I really like with it. One of them actually is kind of neat. You'll notice the hover state's actually also synchronized. And another cool thing is the dev tools, I find. So you can see here we do get like a toggle dev tools and we can come in and see them. So this is the dev tools for that individual one. And you can do that for each or any of them and play with your dev tools like that. Of course, you can also come in and just open your dev tools here and you get access to them through this way as well. It's your regular dev tools from Chrome. There's also debugging tools which you can get, which are really, really cool. And this is one of the things I want to focus on a little bit. So if I go to the debugging tools here, and actually what I'm going to do, just because we have too many windows open. So here I'm just going to close down a few of these. And actually a nice thing here is they're also always, you can do like the mobile version of it. So let's just say I open a few more and I open up all of those and I decide, you know, I can close that one and close this one. And I just want to be able to resize this one willy-nilly as I'm working. You can do that, which is kind of cool. So there we go, we have those. But yeah, I want to see, let's go on the big one here and I'm going to click on this one and we get layout debugging, contrast checker, edit content, readability, content chaos, some accessibility stuff coming in, Z indexes and a whole bunch of stuff. So like even disable CSS and you can see what the site would look like with no CSS on, which is always something you probably should do on a site. It gives you, it's a nice, quick, easy way to do it. You can also disable your images. So you'd see what would happen if the images are broken, what the result would be. And I don't have alt text, but I do actually have some in my finished version. Let's just go to layout debugging and you can actually see the outlines showing up and everything. But one thing that's nice is you'll notice that, like, the nesting of these outlines actually changes the color. So if you just want a nice outline on everything to see what might be causing issues or where, that's a nice way for layout debugging. You can also do the contrast checker. So here you get contrast just showing up on everything, which is super, super handy. So you remember we saw earlier that all of these were failing. Well, now I can see right away, just a quick color check, scroll through and see all the areas where I have issues with contrast and where the contrast is okay. So there's a whole bunch of problems showing up because this is my broken accessibility version of my site. Content chaos is a fun one where it just sort of like changes the overall content. So you're getting longer content in a lot of areas than what you originally had to make sure that your components and the different things you have are actually working. I won't go through all of these. I'd really recommend to play around with it a little bit. There's also simulation. So you could actually simulate things like color blindness and the different types of color blindnesses that are here. Even bright sunshine, like what would this look like if somebody's in their laptop outside? And another things you can do are like changing your pixel density ratio as well as the locations. You can try, you know, what would happen if you're in different locations and simulate that as well, which can be really handy for testing. And these tools are all accessible from Chrome's dev tools, but this just makes them a lot easier to get to because they're not hidden behind other menus and stuff like that. And a few other things I'm going to look at really fast is let's open this DevTools thing again. We'll get rid of that. Here we go. And this is a few things I looked at in the last video, but I want to dive deeper in. First of all, you have the regular just dev tools that you know and love. You can even see it's running on Chromium because here highlights of what's new in Chrome 96 right there. And so you have access to all the dev tools that you might be used to. So you can write CSS here and affect things that are on your site, which could be kind of interesting. You get like a big console. So you have the console that is down here if you want to use that one, but they have like a dedicated console that you can be using. And we also have this more like Polypane specific dev tools, which I actually like a lot for when I'm using it. So let's say we grab this guy and we go and take a look at this right here. It's going to select it. It shows me the text. It shows me the font I'm using. It shows me my contrast. It shows me my line height, which is on there. So that makes life a little bit easier. And one thing I'm actually going to do is let's just turn off in the settings here. Let's go back to no touch because it's mucking me up a little bit. So yeah, you can see the text that's here and copy paste stuff if you need to. You can see the dimensions. As I said, you can actually see the font size, the font that's being used, and other things like that. And you can see the regular styles, which we're used to, the computed, which you're used to, the attributes that might be on there. But really nice thing is you can also get extra accessibility information here as well. So you get the text, the role that's on it, is it focusable, and the contrast. Where here is very low contrast, as we know. And let's just say I come up and I take this one as a different piece in here. So once again, you get the contrast ratio. Is it focusable? Yes, because it's a link, and the accessible name and other stuff. So there's some extra accessibility features baked in here, which is really nice. And then there's also a few other things. We can go to info and actually analyze your page for accessibility issues within here as well. And you can see here we get my 3 critical, some serious, and all of that. So we can check it out. and it gives you it finds what it is and gives you the reason for why it's an issue. So it should have an alt attribute even if it's empty, or just add role presentation to indicate it's for purely presentational. So very similar to what we saw for Macs. I can also go to my source and I can see the source code. So if you want the original source code of stuff, you can come and look at that and get little things that might pop up for issues that are going to be coming up within your site as well on the HTML validation. You can check your local storage, which I really like. I built something recently, so we can actually see here the local storage. So it's my forcecarbcalculator.com. And there it is. So let's open up the DevTools right there for that. Let's move this over a little bit. And if I go into my info and then we go to storage, you can see that there's things here that are stored in my local storage. So if I came and actually changed this and then I refresh my page, I want to refresh here. You can actually see that it's updated there in the local storage. I change this value, hit refresh, and I can see that it's updated in my local storage right there. So that's really cool. You can see all the different things, and if there's cookies and different stuff like that coming through as well. You can also see your document outline. I won't go too deep into this. You can break it down by your headings, and maybe it would be better on this one actually, so we can actually see something. You can see the headings that all come up in the document outline. Landmark regions and a little bit more. I won't talk too much about this. If you're curious about more on this, check the link in the description, or there might be a card popping up that on a video where I focused on using this tool to sort of look at how the document outline is constructed with our headings and everything. And there's also this meta, which is super, super cool because you can see how things will be shared across all the different social networks as well. So that's really kind of good. It shows you what things might be missing. Your robots.txt and other things that are in here, and the light and dark mode you can also simulate as well. So I find that really cool. And if you are interested in that video where I break down headings and look at that using Polypane to sort of explain how documents are structured, or if you want to know why, if you're debugging with the regular dev tools and you're debugging CSS specifically, Firefox is actually the best browser for that. Those videos are right here for your viewing pleasure. And with that, a really big thank you to my supporters of Awesome over on Patreon, Adam, Johnny, Randy, Stewart, and Tim. Thank you guys oh so very much, as well as all my other supporters on Patreon. And of course, until next time, don't forget to make your corner of the internet just a little bit more awesome.